everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This past weekend, I saw Moulin Rouge the musical on tour, and this is my review. Our first segment is what was the show about? So, Moulin Rouge the musical is famously based off of the movie of the same name, and it has pretty much the same storyline. I actually haven't seen the movie, so I don't know what was changed, but it's the same storyline. This show is directed by Alex Timbers with choreography by Sonia Tahe. Again, if I mispronounce any names, I sincerely apologize. I am horrible with names. Music supervision, co-orchestrator, arrangements, and additional lyrics were all done by Justin Levine, and the book was done by John Logan. Which leads us into the next category, which is the technical elements, so the sets, the costumes, choreography, and orchestrations. Obviously, the choreography is a huge standout of this show. It is so amazingly done, and what's extra cool about this specific production is they needed to change so much, because the Broadway set has all these extra things where the ensemble can go like in the audience, they have the can seats, and the extra extended stage. They don't have that on tour, so they really had to redo the show. And if you hadn't seen the Broadway version, you wouldn't notice anything was different or anything was like wrong, because it all looked like that's how the show is supposed to be done, which that's how it's supposed to be done on tour, but that's not how it is on Broadway. But it doesn't look like, oh, something's wrong. It looks good and it looks super cool. Choreography is just so cool, like when they do the can, the dancing in Roxanne is great. That was so cool to see. Yeah, just the entire show, dance-wise, is so expertly done and conveys the story so well, and it's just so cool to watch. Another highlight was the lighting. I have recently started loving the lighting of shows and paying more attention to it. This specific production had like 3 LED strips on the stage, which had the illusion of stairs. Like, I thought they were standing on stairs when they weren't. It was just the stage and the lights, which was super cool. But there was this one part during backstage romance where they had like no lighting on the stage, and they just had like a front light, like a spotlight on the dancers, and you could see all of their shadows behind them on the stage, and it looked so cool, and it was awesome. And the other lighting, just like everything was super cool. It was a little distracting though, because I was in the family circle, orchestra, mezzanine, and then family tier, so I was like on the 3rd row, and that's where the spotlight was. So that was a little distracting, seeing like the spot, like, because you can see the spotlight on the stage, but then there's this light right next to your eye, which is a little distracting. But other than that, the lighting was super cool, and it was just so fun to watch. The sets are obviously a little bit less because it's a tour, which makes perfect sense, but it just looks so cool. I loved the Eiffel Tower during Elephant Love Medley. It was so cool. The hearts at the beginning, the curtain. I forget what the song was, but when they were like the fancy rich people, how the curtain came down and you could see like the silhouettes in the back, which was super cool. Yeah, it was just, there were such cool sets, and they did such a great job of telling the story and also just looking really cool. I also want to talk about the orchestrations. Doing a jukebox musical is super hard because you have to make these pop songs not sound like pop songs and make them actually fit, and I thought it did a great job with that, and mashing them up especially, because those songs like Shut Up and Raise Your Glass, Elephant Love Medley, Backstage Romance, like they blend these perfectly that you can like barely tell it's a different song. and you're like, oh, they're singing this song now. Like, it just immediately started and was super cool to listen to. And last but not least, the costumes. The costumes are just so beautiful and so cool. I love that beginning Satine costume during the Diamond song. I forget what it's called. But her first costume is so pretty. And they do such a great job with quick changes because she has so many, like, there was a on-stage change. There were, like, clearly a bunch of quick changes into a bunch of different outfits, especially for her, and they were done so seamlessly. The costumes are designed so perfectly that those can get done. And the costumes just were so cool, how, like, they had the skirts and those were detachable so they could stand out when people wearing skirts and weren't. And the class level with the costumes for, like, all the people at the Moulin Rouge and all the people, like, in that are, like, with the Duke, and it was just so cool. The show is so cool. Like, everything is just so visually stunning while also portraying the story. Next segment was the show good? Yes, that's okay. I don't think I'm ever gonna say no in this segment, but I'm gonna explain why I like the show in this segment. So at the beginning I was a little skeptical. Like, I had never seen the show before. I haven't listened to the full cast album. There are songs that I liked beforehand, but I didn't know the full show. And at the beginning, I liked watching the choreography, but I was like, I don't know if this is gonna become one of my new favorite shows. But then the more I watched it, and the more that the story went on, the more I fell in love with the characters, the more I got attached to everything, and the more I wanted to follow the storyline. So, yes, I really liked the show. It was really good. It was really cool. That's my word for the show. It was super cool. And yeah, like, the beginning, I don't know, the beginning was done great, and it was super cool, but it just took me to get a little bit more into the actual story to actually like it more and become more invested. Next is, how are the performances? These performances were so good. So, putting up my little Play-Doh, getting the cast. So we saw Yvette Gonzalez-Nacer as Satine. Again, I apologize if any names are pronounced incorrectly. Horrible names. She was so good as Satine. Her voice is so beautiful. Her acting of, like, towards the end, in case you haven't seen the show, was so, like, heartbreaking. And, like, you could tell that she really felt bad about what she did, but her voice was just so beautiful, and she's awesome. I got to meet her afterward. She was, like, my childhood hero because I watched her in the freshman band, so it was so cool to see her in the show, and she did such a fantastic job in this role. Next is John Cardoza as Christian. He slayed. That's all I have to say. His Roxanne was beautiful. He did so many opt-ups. He was just so good. And, like, him at the end, you could tell, like, how broken this man was and everything he's been through. And it was very sad to watch. But he slayed, especially the vocals. The vocals in this show are so good, but everyone else did a great job with the dancing as well. Let's keep going through to find more people who I want to talk about. While I'm looking for more people, huge shout out to this incredible ensemble who were dancing the house down. They were just so eye-catching. Like, your eye immediately went to, like, them just to watch them do these dances, and it was so cool. They did them so well, and I do not, like, as a dancer even, I'm like, how do they do that this much? It was so cool. Austin Duran was Harold Zidler, and, you know, he slayed. His, like, he was so funny in the show. His acting and voice was great. Let's just say, Nick Rashad Berlagos, that's how you say that, was Toulouse. He also slayed. He was in the Something Round tour, which is a slay. Yeah, and he was great. He was so him and Gabe Martinez, who are Santiago, were so funny together. That one, then the two of them at the beginning when they're first introduced were so funny. Both their voices were great. Their comedic timing was awesome. Libby Lloyd was Nini. She was so good. Like, her, like, that's not that big of a part, but like, she danced her face off and was so good in that part. And the part that she sung, she sounded great. And she was also incredibly nice when I met her afterward. Just her dancing was so beautiful and so amazing. I do not know this cast too well, so yeah, I can't really shout out too many ensemble members because I don't know many of their names, but they all slayed, and that entire cast did such an amazing job. My standout song numbers were Tango to the Roxanne, obviously, because it was a slay, and John Cardoza performed it so well. His voice was great. Elephant Love Medley, obviously, I loved it so much. It was so good. Their voices blended so well together, and it made me so happy. Backstage Romance, obviously, the dancing, the singing, the orchestration, the putting of all those songs together, it was great. So exciting. The pitch song was so funny. I loved it so much. I had never heard that song before today. Not today. I had never heard that song before I saw the show, and that was just so funny and so incredibly well done. Who should see this show? This is a bit more of a mature show, so like I don't think kids should come and see the show, but I feel like it's good for like teens and adults. If you're a fan of the movie, you should come and see the show. If you really like dancing, if this is a huge dance show and the dancing is so cool, so if you're like a dancer or you just really love big ensemble dance shows, this is one of those. If you love like those romance or like and like love stories, then you should come and see the show. Just yeah, those are the people who should see this show. And now it is time for final thoughts / stage door. It was such a cool show. Like, that is my way of explaining it. The sets, the lighting, the costumes, the dancing, the vocals, they were all so good and so well done, and I just could not recommend it enough. And especially on Broadway, because the Broadway set is so cool. As cool as the tour set is, the Broadway set is just so much cooler and so much more detailed, so much more extravagant. So I would highly recommend going to see this on Broadway and on tour. And people were worried, like, oh, this set's not as cool as tour. That is true, but it doesn't take away at all. It still looks super beautiful, and like all the elements are there. It's just a little bit less, but it's such a quality show. What the show lacks in set, the performances make up for that. And the performances are just so good, so heartbreaking, so talent-filled. I don't think that's a word. So yeah, I would highly recommend this show, and it is so beautiful and so great. Now it's time to talk about Stage Door, which will be the final segment. I love Tour Stage Door, because Tour Stage Door, there was so many less people, and everyone was super nice. I got a great spot, even though I was a little bit later getting out of the theater. Pretty much a lot of people came out. There were a couple of ensemble members. Libby, who played Nini, came out. Yvette came out. She played Satine. Sadly, John Cardoza didn't come out my day, but he went out most of the other days. Austin Durant came out, and Gabe Martinez came out, and a couple of other people did too. They were all super nice. They all signed playbills, took photos, and they and touring people talk a lot more than Broadway people, so those people like did stop and talk to people a lot, and yeah, everyone was super nice. It was such a smaller stage door than most Broadway stage doors, which is so nice. So yeah. They did take a little bit longer to come out though. We didn't have to wait like 10-15 minutes, which isn't a lot, but especially compared to the Anne Juliet stage door when they were out within like 3 minutes. But yeah, it was so good. Everyone at stage door was so nice. I would highly recommend you go see the show on Broadway or on tour. and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye! And I'm seeing Rent, the concert version in DC tomorrow, and there will be a review on that next week. Bye!